Hi guys! You made it through week one of BIO 104. Congratulations. So I just wanted to check in and create a video just so A, you can see my face and not feel like your professor is just a robot on the other side of your computer. But I also wanted to use this chance or this opportunity to show you guys kind of where you can find some great resources for the lab report that you have to write this week. I know we're in week two, and the science classes we tend here at ACC, we kind of tend to front load you with a lot of work, and really weeks one and two I think are going to be the heaviest workload that you have for this class, and they'll start kind of easing up. And I know students, especially in science, tend to have some misgivings about writing and how to write scientifically and all of that. So I wanted to just kind of share with you guys some of the resources I've put into D2L to help you with getting prepared for that assignment. But yeah, hopefully you guys are finding a groove. Hopefully you are feeling successful with the beginning of this semester. If you have any questions or concerns or worries about the class, please feel free to reach out. Reaching out to your professors in the first few weeks of class is the best way to make sure that you're setting up a game plan for yourself to stay successful for the rest of the semester. So you can email me, we can meet via Zoom, but please reach out. No question is too big or too small. I'm happy to help with that. But with that, let's go ahead and talk about the lab report that you have to write this week. If you are in D2L, if we go to Content, and under lecture materials, specifically week two, again, you'll see kind of the blurb that I've given you guys for the week in terms of your action items and assignments that you need to complete. And your lab report is really the biggest assignment you need to get done for week two. In order to do that lab report, you do need to finish lab 2 first. It's super short. It literally just shows you how to collect data and measure your arm, your forearm, in order to be able to start collecting student data. Please make sure you provide your measurements to the ULNA measurements discussion by Tuesday, just so that students can start collecting data to write their lab report. And if you scroll down, you'll see that I have embedded the Dropbox for Lab 2 here. I'm going to go ahead and just click on this because you'll see that there are some associated files that you can download if you specifically click on that assignment. So some things that I want to highlight is that for the lab report, when you collect student data for ULNA measurements versus height, you do need to make a scatter plot with trend line. It details on how to do that. There's a helpful video physically embedded into Laboratory 2 that you can use to help you with that. The other big thing for your lab report is that you need to have primary literature. Specifically, you need to have a total of at least 5 peer-reviewed sources that are cited in your intro and conclusion sections. These should be a mix of peer-reviewed journal articles, but you can also use website articles as well. Just remember to stick to .edu, .gov, or .org websites. Those have been peer-reviewed. .coms have not been reviewed, so please avoid all .coms. Obviously, do not use Wikipedia. In science, we specifically use APA format for citations, which I'm going to show you guys where you can get some help on that here in a second. But you do have to have both in-text citations and a references page at the end of your paper in order to receive credit. If you're lacking any of those, you will get a 0 automatically. To get you started, if you scroll down to the bottom of kind of the instructions here, you'll see that I've attached 2 files, a lab report format file and a lab report rubric. So the lab report format is a helpful Word doc that you can download that just kind of tells you what needs to be in each section of your lab report. So definitely use this as a way to get started on organizing and outlining your lab report. You'll see that specifically in the intro and the conclusion, I mentioned that you have to have citations there. So do make sure that you are including those. I also want to highlight that the methods and the materials should be very exact. So you want to tell me exactly how you measured your ulna and your height and other people in your family if you did that. And also tell me how you collected data in order to make your graph. Notice that you need to include things like the independent variable, the dependent variable, the control group, and the experimental group. So you can use your notes on that material on the scientific method from week 1 to help you with that as well. But again, use this format guide to help you outline your paper. Secondly, you can also refer to the lab report rubric so that you know exactly what you need to do to get the points you want to earn on your report. You'll see that it's broken up by section, so title, abstract, intro, methods, results, conclusion, references. And you can see everything you need to do to get maximum points to get to a total of 25 out of 25 if that is your goal. So definitely refer to this rubric I recommend using the rubric as you're writing, but after as a review tool. So once you're done writing, come back to that rubric and kind of double check, do I have everything that's under the full points column that I need in order to get the points that I want? So use that as well to help you. Going back to the lab report folder in D2L, I recognize that for a lot of you, this might be the first time where you are having to find scientific articles and analyze those. So to help you with that, I've embedded this anatomy of a scientific article video just to that it nicely outlines what is in each section and how to approach each section to determine if that paper is something that you want to include in your citations or not. This also is basically the outline of what you will be doing. You're going to be mimicking a scientific article in your lab report, so you actually want your lab report to look similar to this anatomy as well. And you'll notice the rubric and that format cheat sheet I've given you follow that same kind of anatomy. So what about citations? Maybe you're not familiar with APA format. Maybe you've never had to worry about citations before. So don't worry, I've helped you out. If we go back to our content page, underneath the plagiarism information and citation resources folder under table of contents, I've linked a couple of helpful links. So first off, you have just done that plagiarism activity last week to help you understand what plagiarism is and how not to perform plagiarism. But we can also take advantage of the library to find both our primary research articles, but also to get help with citations. So first off, this first link here is just a link to ACC's library. So it just brings you to the homepage. I also want to point out that the librarians are amazing. You can chat with them 24/7, or you can actually schedule a time to meet with a librarian. This is not a writing center tutor, it's a physical librarian that can help you with things like performing a literature search and things like that. If you scroll down, you'll find links to some helpful stuff. For instance, I've also in D2L given you guys a direct link to the citation resources. But if you're looking at the library homepage, you'll see that there is this purple link here that says citation guides. If you click that, you can have help citing in any of the formats that you'd be required to cite in or to use here at ACC. Specifically, we're going to use APA formatting for this assignment. And you can see it gives you a general overview, so everything from how you should actually outline your paper. Notice it needs to be 12-point font, double-spaced, that type of thing. It even gives examples on how to cite things. So specifically, it'll give you different types of books and ebooks. It'll tell you how to cite articles. It even gives in-text citations. So again, you should be looking at the in-text citations really frequently as you're writing your intro and conclusion, and then you can use any of these other tabs to help you with citing your full resources at the end in your references section. So definitely check that out. The librarians and the Writing Center tutors can also help you. The Writing Center tutors specifically can help you with making sure that you're citing things correctly. If we go back to the library homepage, another useful link that you can use are the research guides here. So the research guides are really useful in that this is how you can find peer-reviewed articles that you can use for your lab report. What's really cool about our library is that they've organized things into different categories or subjects. Specifically for this lab report, I would focus on the biology and A&P link. But from here, it gives you some help with how to even look at background information, scholarly articles, journals, videos, and websites. If you go to the Scholarly Articles tab, and if you click on Biology Database, this is going to link out. You would put your student ID here. That'll log you in. Unfortunately, peer-reviewed journal articles often require that you pay a subscription, but what's really nice about ACC is they've done that for you. They've paid for this subscription. And so maybe I wanted to look at forensics and bone measurements. If I typed that in, it's going to come up with all types of sources that I can use or potentially use for my lab report. Maybe I want to stick specifically to scholarly journals. So I'm going to click just scholarly journals. And notice that right now it's showing me publications from 1993 all the way to now. But notice that as we get kind of farther into like kind of 2004, for instance, there's more records. And I want to maybe find stuff that's been published within the last 10 years. So I'm going to narrow my search from 2010 to 2020. I'm going to update that. And so now it's showing me kind of the most recent articles. For instance, here's an article that might help me, stature estimation from long bone lengths in a Thai population, which remember the whole point is can we figure out if this person is how tall they were based on long bone lengths. This would be for Thai people specifically, but it could help me maybe in understanding how forensic scientists can do that. If I look here, the abstract, again, which is kind of the synopsis of the paper, I automatically see things like humerus radius, ulna, okay, and how these were measured, and stature reconstruction using a formula allowed these researchers to figure out how tall people are. So that might be a really great reference. I can go, so if I want to use this, I can physically download the PDF. So that'll download, I can open that up, I can read through it to make sure that it's something that can really help me with explaining how scientists can use just the measurement of one bone to determine things like height, sex, things like that. What's really cool too is there's a citation generator right from here. So notice that it's already set to APA, the most recent edition, and this has given me the full text citation that I need for the end of my references paper. So right here, you already have that citation. So you just need to copy and paste it and put it at the end of your paper. So super easy. You would still need to use the citation guide to make sure that you're citing in text correctly. This is not the in-text citation, this is the end references citation style. But still, you've already gotten that made for you. So just kind of a quick and like dirty really example of how you can use these research guides. Again, you don't have to use these. You can also use the research guides for websites as well. So notice specifically under if we go back to the biology and A&P tab, if you click on websites, there's also, it links you to some helpful websites that you can use as well. PLOS is a really great site. They have really great articles. PubMed is really awesome. So these will bring you out to websites that you can then perform searches for journal articles. You can use also websites. For instance, you can use, For instance, you can use like .gov and .edu websites to get help as well. But again, you really want to make sure that you're avoiding .coms. So kind of to wrap up, again, you want to be using under lecture materials week 2, use those 2 documents that I have uploaded or embedded into the lab report to help get you started on what needs to be in each section of your report. Again, that was the review guide and the rubric. You can use the video that I've embedded here to help you with how to start analyzing scientific articles to make sure that the articles you are picking will actually help you write your lab report and provide strong background information or allow you to connect your work to the work of others in your conclusion. And then definitely use the links in the plagiarism section of the table of contents to help you with researching material at the library.